right, I think we're on. Good morning, it is, let me check the date. Trying not to touch the laptop because the clamp is connected to it. It's a gooseneck, so it bounces around really easily. It's December 13th, and it is cold outside. Well, it's in the 30s. That's cold to me. But good morning, and I hope you are all doing well. I have some notes. I found something very interesting. Um, and excuse the hair. I cut it, and it's got a really strong wave pattern that wasn't quite that strong before, but interesting. Anyway, I love change, right? Yes. Okay, so anyway, I was out on the YouTube. I'm a YouTube junkie, and I found this video about this technique. It's a breathing technique, and this guy is absolutely freaking amazing. And he says, people might think he's a freak of nature, but he's not. He teaches his method to people, and they are able to do what he is able to do, which is quite amazing. So anyway, to start out, his wife committed suicide, which drove him to really develop this method that he of breathing and connecting to the body. And really, my understanding of pranayama falls right in line with what he teaches. Now, he has a background in yoga and martial arts and things like that, so he has an idea of breathing. He's been taught breathing exercises, but this is just a little bit different. You're using it differently. You're breathing a little bit differently than at least what I was taught in pranayama. So it's and the I don't know. Let me dive into it. He has 26 world records, including climbing to the top of Mount Everest in shorts and no shirt. Yes, you heard me right. He climbed to the top without any problems because of this method that he uses, this breathing method. And he says that he can teach anybody in 4 days you can do what he can do. So that in the fact that scientists, I think at Stanford University, they were poking him and prodding him and scanning him and testing him and experimenting with him, and they came up with all kinds of interesting information. He's legit. He is absolutely scientifically legit. He sits in water, cold, cold ice cube water, and sits there. I think the record was 2 hours, and his body temperature never went down. Wow. Okay. So this guy is legit. Um, he said he had an experience where he was preparing for swimming under the ice, and for a record, he was going to go 50 meters, and it was the day before, so he was just preparing, and he got into the water without goggles, and it froze his cornea in his eyes, and so he couldn't see. So he was just kind of swimming around trying to find there were two holes 50 meters apart. He was trying to find the other hole and he kept missing it. And they realized he was down too long, and the diver jumped in and grabbed him and brought him over to the other hole. He said during that time he just felt, that something was wrong, but he was okay. He was not afraid. And if you've ever been in a traumatic situation, the most important thing, like a fire or an earthquake or a tornado, the most important thing is to stay calm so that you can think properly, so that you can find your way out and find a solution. And so that's what happened for him. Okay. So one of the doctors, I think at Stanford, had said that what they saw was that let me tell you this. He was injected with a bacterial endotoxin, and he was supposed to like feel chills and a fever and headaches, and he never felt any of that, never experienced any of that. And they had him all connected to his head connected to instruments and his body connected to instruments so they can measure everything. And what the doctor said is it seems like what he's able to do is keep the adrenaline high and a cortisol low, giving him the feeling of well-being, which allows him to gain control over his body and pain. He's able to control pain. So this is not just healing sickness. This is also going in and controlling pain. So if you've got, maybe you hurt your neck and you have constant pain from your neck, you can use this method to control the pain. And so one video I watched, he said he has taken people with MS and Parkinson's and chronic fatigue and all of that, and he's trained them, and they have put, okay, if we're not allowed to say cure, he had them develop their ability to control their bodies to the point where they were able to put it in remission. So, whether you call that cure or remission or what, they no longer suffer from that disease. The thing about it is that it helps you gain control when you don't feel good, when you feel your behavior is being like, why do I keep doing this? Why can't I choose to do this other thing? Your behavior is under the control of your toxic beliefs. And when they get triggered, it becomes very frustrating and very difficult to feel good, to make decisions based on what you consciously know is right and good and for your highest good, the best for you. So with this method, he found that he is able to get to a place where he feels good, he's in the present moment, and he's able to be in control. And that's a big part of what I teach in the self-mastery course, is understanding where your toxic beliefs are coming from and get control over them. So what they also did, because they wanted to prove that this guy was not a freak of nature, they took his students and injected them with the same bacterial endotoxin, and none of them got sick. They used his method to stay healthy. And this is a very, very powerful method. And so I'm going to be using it. I feel better. I do feel a difference. He has a course where he teaches you all the details, but it costs $400, which is not in my budget right now. So I am watching all of these YouTube videos to kind of glean little bits and pieces. So one video, he teaches a whole audience to do the breathing, to go through. You're supposed to do it 30 to 35 times, and then on your exhale, you hold it. And I did this, and I was able to hold it for at least a minute. And it was very easy to hold my breath for a minute, and that's never happened. Always, usually around a minute, I start, I gotta breathe. So I definitely felt a difference immediately with that. And then you inhale and you hold it for 15 seconds, and then you go back to normal breathing. And what he did with the audience is he did it again. You went through it again. So you do the 30 to 35, and then you hold the last breath out. And so that is a new thing to me. So I'm not sure how many times you're supposed to do that. Of course, I'm sure the course will tell you. But there's that. And definitely use what is called the yogic breathing, or complete breath. And I'm sorry, I don't know the Sanskrit name for it, but you start with expanding the belly and breathing in deeply. While your belly is expanding, it opens the lungs up to fill up the bottom. So if you have any training in exercise, they teach you to hold your abdominal muscles in to give you better support. So while you're exercising, you want your abdominals, your core, to be tight. You do not want your core to be tight when you're doing this breathing. You want your belly to be relaxed and to expand, to inhale deeply into the lungs, and then expand your chest all the way up to your shoulders, so you are full of air. And then just let it go. Just let it go, just like that. Just let it go. And then you do that for 30 times. And do not do this while driving or in water. In fact, I prefer to do it lying down, and he teaches lying down. You should lie down until you are able to control it, because you could pass out. Because you're doing 30 breaths like that. So you're doing a deep inhale. It's kind of like processing your emotions that I teach in the course, but this is much longer. This goes much longer, and the possibility of passing out is much greater. So processing your emotions, I'm just getting you to the point where you feel a little bit lightheaded, and then you focus on that feeling of lightheadedness, because that's what spirit feels like, and you want to be in a place where you feel light, because then you can feel happy. Ego does not feel happy, does not feel light. Okay, and then that allows you to be more objective as to what is going on in your environment, so you can be more objective instead of jumping into your ego defenses. Okay, so this is going much longer. You're going to feel really tingly, very lightheaded, so lying down is very highly recommended. You do 30, so I count on my fingers, and then this will be 10, and then because if I count, I'll lose track of my breathing. I won't be able to breathe properly. So, a little bit limited, but that's okay. I can count on my fingers. So I keep track, and when I do 3 rounds, then I know I'm there. And then I exhale, just the regular exhale, just let it go. And then hold it, and I can hold it for at least a minute without any struggle whatsoever. It feels fine. And then inhale. And really you hold it out as long as you can until you start feeling that struggle, that need to inhale. And then you can inhale. And then inhale deeply. And then hold it for 15 seconds. And what that does is replenish your oxygen in your body, and it circulates. Nutrients flow in the bloodstream, and when you oxygenate the body, the cells open up it makes it easier to receive the nutrients. I, for one, struggle with I'm putting in plenty of minerals, but I get leg cramps, and I can tell my bones are getting thinner. I know I'm not metabolizing, I'm not absorbing the minerals, and a lot has to do with cortisol being out of whack, estrogen being out of balance. Those things can block, and the estrogen will block your minerals absorption, and I think cortisol will start eroding away. Anyway, inflammation, I know, means your body's acidic, and this method will alkalinize your body. So it's very, very important to alkalinize the body in order to heal any disease that you're experiencing, or ailment even, because an acidic environment will support pain. And if you can alkalinize the body, then you can reduce or remove the whatever is stimulating the pain. I lost my train of thought. Dang it. So let's see. I'm talking about alkalinizing, getting relaxed. Oh, cascading. Yes, inflammation can go into a cascade, which means it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you may have maybe taking in a remedy that like minerals and supplements and your exercising and whatnot, but your inflammation is up here and going up. So your remedy isn't enough. The supplements and everything is not enough to overcome the inflammation. This breathing is going to bring that down. It gets the cortisol in control, which is what I really need. Yesterday morning, I'm trying to do my budget because Skip needs me to do my budget so then he can do his budget to see where we're at. Make sure because our mortgage went up. Thanks to the Federal Reserve, who seemed to think the economy was doing great when now but it's not, and everybody's screaming the Fed should not have raised the rates. Anyway, they did. Our mortgage went up over $200. Yay. Thankfully, I have an increase in income, so we're going to cover it. It'll be fine, and I'll have extra money. Whew. So we're okay. But I was working on my budget, and we have this push thing that, you see them in restaurants where you just roll them over the thin carpet and it picks up, dirt and stuff like that, or over a hard floor. It's a sweeper. And so he was rolling it over because he was waiting for me, so he's bored, so he cleaned. So it was like, ring, 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 ring. After about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm like, so I had to put earplugs in because it just was grating on my nerves because I don't handle stress like I used to. Thank you, menopause. So I'm learning to control my environment as much as possible, reducing stress as much as possible. Anything that aggravates me, I try to reduce it, as well as focus my mind on peace, love, harmony, joy, bringing myself joy, doing things that make me feel good to reduce that stress because I can't handle it like I used to. So I'm using this method to help me stay in control of the cortisol, as well as he also says dopamine and serotonin and neurotransmitters get in balance when you use this method. And he's, they poked and prodded him, and they figured all this stuff out. I'm pretty sure the things that he's saying is what he's learned from Stanford University, running all the tests on him that they're seeing, because I know that medical doctor that works at the university that's been working on him and studying him said that adrenaline is high and cortisol is low, and they believe that is what is giving him that sense of well-being, so he's able to control the immune system at will, consciously control the immune system. And so he said that if you have depression, this is going to wipe that out, put those brain chemicals in better balance. And I struggle with low dopamine, which I believe is why I'm so attracted to coffee, because it boosts the dopamine, which I need. Low dopamine, you feel apathetic, you don't feel motivated, you don't care, you don't want to do anything, you just want to sit on the sofa and, whatever. High cortisol makes you angry, quick to anger. You're aggravated. So when Skip was doing the sweeper, I think my cortisol was a little high. And so and serotonin, dopamine, melatonin, and all of that is manufactured in the gut. So if you have gut problems, which I do, then you can have an imbalance of neurotransmitters. So low serotonin makes you prone to depression. Nobody cares. Nobody wants. The whole world is against me. Everything's a struggle. Then you fall into a depression. That's your serotonin. And sometimes you get both. I don't care. I just want to sit here and I'm depressed. Both. So those are your neurotransmitters that are in the gut, are produced in the gut and transferred into the brain. So if there's a disconnect between the gut and the brain, you've got problems with the gut, need to take care of that. And it's a source of huge inflammation if the gut is not happy, if you don't have the good bacteria. So this breathing method is very powerful and very important. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, this is very, very similar to processing your emotions. So this is going to make you feel good, make you feel happy. Pranayama, the whole goal of pranayama is, well, not the whole goal, I'm sorry. But yoga is about unifying. Yoga means yoke together. So you're unifying using the breath. The breath is in the present moment. The mind is in the future. The body is in the past. If you think about it, you think thoughts, say all the bills I have to pay and how I'm not going to have enough money to go on vacation. What happens? Eventually, the body starts going, eh. So the mind is in the future. I'm thinking about stuff, and then the body feels it later. The breath is always in the present moment. So when we focus on the breath, we bring the mind and the body together. Doing this method is going to bring everything into the present moment, and that's where spirit is, and you're going to feel good. You're going to feel light. You're going to feel good. Okay, so I went over how to do that. So you do it 30 times. In that one video, he had them, he was talking for like maybe a minute, and then he had them do the whole thing over again, breathing 30 times. Sorry. And then you hold it out for as long as you can until you start feeling like you need to breathe in. And he has said several times that 4 days is all he needs with you to teach you everything you need to know, and you will be able to do what he is doing after 4 days. So you can go jump in an icy lake and feel it. It will feel warm. It won't bother you. What happens is when you think about it, when you jump in a cold lake, what happens? Or cold shower, right? Breath gets very shallow, and there's this tense feeling. You're tensed up. And it feels there's some fear there. What's happening? It's a shock. When you do this method, you stay focused on feeling good. Then you step into the cold shower, or into the cold lake, or into the ice-filled bathtub. And he says, go slow. No more than 30 seconds in a cold shower. So yesterday, I got the shower as hot as I could stand it, because I know I'm going to turn it cold, right? So I wanted it to be as hot as possible. And then I just gradually turned it to cold until I got to the point where I was... And then I made myself go into a deeper breathing and get more relaxed. And then I turned it back to warm. And that was it. I don't want to freak myself out and get caught up in the fear. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. So just do a little bit at a time, get used to it, and it gets better. I've seen videos, and I don't know, the thing about watching these videos, they're giving a review on using the method, but I don't know if they've taken the course. So I don't know if they just did what I'm doing, because I'm cheap, and I'm looking at all these videos and trying to pick up all the tips and techniques, and maybe that's what they're doing, and they're still struggling with it, but still, they're still able to go out in the cold. I hate the cold. So I really want this, because I am cold at work, because the vents overhead is blowing cold air. My plant is going... because it's so windy, and I don't know why it has to be so windy, but it makes me feel cold. When that's off, I'm okay, but when it's blowing, I feel cold. So I'm going to be using this method to see if I can get myself warmed up and stay warm. So anyway, I would definitely try this. I'm going to post some videos that I've watched. And one of them, he talks about the dopamine, serotonin, and all that, and he mentions cannabinoids. And I had the closed caption turned on. YouTube removed the word cannabinoids. I just said it. Cannabinoids. They removed that word because it's associated with marijuana. Dumb. Seriously, people. Get with the program. It's science now. We know scientifically we have cannabinoids in our body. We need cannabinoids. We need hemp. We need... I think there's a need for THC in the body too. It doesn't have to get you high. It can be enough just to satisfy and calm the body. So it does not have to be at a level where it's high. Studies have shown that it's very powerful. So this is science, people. Get with the program. Quit being so afraid of marijuana. It's not a gateway drug. Okay, so off that soapbox. I will post some of these videos that I've watched so you can watch them too. There's some that are like 2+ hours long. Oh, wow. but he gets really into a lot of what he's experienced and what he understands is happening. It's body mind connection. You are in control of your body. You are conscious. You are in the present moment. It brings you into the present moment. It keeps you in the present moment. The problem with our toxic beliefs of I'm not powerless, I have to be powerless to be safe, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, well, whatever it is, that keeps us in a bad place, not in the present moment. If you're breathing, doing these breathing exercises, it's going to change your brain. It's going to pull you out of the where the toxic beliefs put you in, the ego defenses, where I have to defend myself, where people have to make me happy, so they have to behave a certain way so I can be happy. They have to apologize before I can move on. All of that goes away when you're doing this method. It gets better. So what I'm going to do is go over my positive affirmations that directly replace my negative beliefs, and I'm going to go over those after breathing. I'm going to do this breathing exercise, and then I'm going to look over these positive affirmations, and most of them I have memorized. Some of them I have to think about it a little bit, and then it comes back to my mind. But so I don't have to actually read it, and that's where I think everybody should be with their positive affirmations. It needs to be memorized so you can say them every day, quickly, every day, all the time. So if you feel uncomfortable, say those positive affirmations and breathe. That's what we're missing. You are a powerful light being. We're shoved and stuffed into a meat pocket where we're animating this meat thing, this body. And I shouldn't say, but the body is an amazing thing. It's beautiful. It's a tool. We need to connect to it. We're separate from nature with all the technology we've gotten. We've gotten to a level where we're replacing the things that we can do with our mind with technology. We need to get back to nature and start controlling our environment with the mind instead of technology. Okay, that is more in alignment with nature and with the earth. So with that, I'm going to leave that right there, and I hope you watch the videos about this guy. Oh, let me tell you his name. Wim Hof. W-I-M is his first name, Wim. Last name is Hof, H-O-F. And so it's called Wim Hof Method. You put that in the search for YouTube videos and you'll see all kinds of stuff come up. And some of these are really long, and he used salty language, so just to let you know. Some of these more laid back interviews, he drinks a beer in one of them, and he's using, some curse words, and but don't be too sensitive, just keep going and glean the information out of it and learn as much as you can. It's a mindset. Let it drive you. It'll motivate you to do other things, because things that are out of balance in your body, that's making you feel crappy and sick and in pain, those things get back in alignment. Oh, one more thing I just remembered. So somebody asked him in an interview, how do you heal the body? How do you when you're going into a cold shower, how do you control the fear and whatnot? He says focus on what you want. So you do the breathing, you feel good, you feel tingly, then focus on what you want. That's where the positive affirmations that are directly replacing the negative toxic beliefs, that's where that comes in. That'll focus you on what you're trying to do, which is replace or heal the body. So my gut is out of whack, so I'm thinking about healing the gut. And I really believe all the other issues, the imbalances and stuff, the toxins, the acidic environment will all resolve itself if I bring healing to my intestines. Okay? So, any questions, as usual, post them in the group, and I hope you all learn this technique, this method, and use it every day, and take cold showers, and get to the point where you can take the cold shower and it feels warm. It feels fine. All right? So that's going to help you in every aspect of your life. Okay, so I'm going to let you go. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I will see you next week. Blessed be.